In the vast history of Chinese civilization, there is a legendary figure who is both a Taoist cultivator and a master swordsman. His name is well known in Taoism and even more so among the common people. He is one of the Eight Immortals. Lü Dongbin. Chapter 1. The Mortal's Beginning. Lü Dongbin, originally named Lü Yan, courtesy named Dongbin, and known as Chunyangzi, was born in the 14th year of the Zhenyuan era of the Tang Dynasty 798 AD. He was born into an official family and was exceptionally intelligent from a young age. He excelled in literature and aspired to achieve great success in the imperial examinations to bring honor to his family. Among his friends was a fellow townsman named Gou Yao. Gou Yao was an orphan, poor, but honest and hard-working. Lü Dongbin appreciated him, swore brotherhood with him, and invited him to live in his home, hoping that Gou Yao would study hard and have a bright future. One day, a guest named Lin visited Lü Dongbin's home. Upon seeing Gou Yao's impressive demeanor and diligence in studying, the guest suggested marrying his sister to Gou Yao. Lü Dongbin, fearing that Gou Yao might lose his focus on studying due to marital pleasures, immediately declined. However, when Gou Yao learned that the young lady was beautiful, he insisted on accepting the marriage proposal. After much consideration, Lü Dongbin agreed, but with a condition. "Since you are determined, I will not stop you, but after the wedding, I must sleep with the bride for the first 3 nights. Gou Yao was shocked upon hearing this. Being dependent on Lü's family for everything, and having no means of his own, he reluctantly agreed after much hesitation. On the day of the wedding, Lü Dongbin was busy with preparations, while Gou Yao, feeling too ashamed, hid himself away. That night, after the guests had left, Lü Dongbin entered the bridal chamber. The bride, with a red veil covering her face, sat quietly by the bed. Lü Dongbin did not lift the veil nor speak. Instead, he sat by the lamp, engrossed in reading. The bride, waiting until midnight, saw that her husband had not joined her in bed, so she lay down and slept alone. This happened for 3 consecutive nights, leaving the bride quite puzzled. When Gou Yao finally entered the bridal chamber after 3 days, he found the bride in tears. She asked, "Why did you spend 3 nights reading by the lamp and never came to bed, leaving at dawn each day?" Gou Yao was dumbfounded. When the bride lifted her veil and saw that the groom had changed, they both realized what had happened. Gou Yao burst into laughter and said, "My brother feared that I would indulge in pleasures and neglect my studies, so he used this method to motivate me." The bride, too, was filled with respect and gratitude towards Lü Dongbin. They vowed to repay him for this kindness in the future. Years later, Gou Yao indeed passed the imperial examinations and became a high official. The couple tearfully bid farewell to Lü Dongbin and left for Gou Yao's new post. 8 years passed, and one summer, a fire accidentally broke out in Lü Dongbin's home, reducing his wealth to ashes. Lü Dongbin and his wife had to live in a makeshift hut. Life was tough, and Lü Dongbin decided to seek help from Gou Yao. After a long and arduous journey, he finally arrived at Gou Yao's mansion. Gou Yao expressed sympathy for Lü Dongbin's misfortune and warmly welcomed him, but never mentioned helping him. Lü Dongbin stayed for several months without receiving any financial aid. He sighed, "Human affection is as thin as paper. Wealth changes faces. The world is full of such shallow people." Furious, he left without a word. Upon returning home, Lü Dongbin was astonished to see his dilapidated hut replaced with a new tile-roofed house. Puzzled, he wondered how such a transformation could have occurred. As he approached, he was even more shocked to see white paper pasted on either side of the front door. Had someone in the family died? He rushed inside to find a coffin and his wife in mourning, weeping bitterly. Lü Dongbin was bewildered and softly called out, "Dear, what's going on?" His wife turned around, startled, and tremblingly asked, "Are you a man or a ghost?" Lü Dongbin was even more confused. "Why do you ask that? I'm back, alive and well. How could I be a ghost?" After a long look, his wife finally believed it was truly Lü Dongbin and said, "Oh, you really scared me. Am I dreaming?" Lü Dongbin's wife explained that shortly after he left, a group of people came to help build the house. After they finished, they left. Then, 2 days ago, another group brought a coffin, claiming that Lü Dongbin had died in Gou Yao's home. She was devastated and cried her heart out. Lü Dongbin realized that this was all Gou Yao's doing. He grabbed an axe and split the coffin open. Inside, he found gold and silver treasures, along with a letter. Lü Dongbin opened it and read, "Gou Yao is not an ungrateful man. I sent money to build your house. You made my wife stay alone, so I made your wife weep bitterly." Lü Dongbin, suddenly enlightened, smiled bitterly. "Dear brother, you have truly helped me in a way that caused me much suffering." From then on, the Lü and Gou families became even closer. Despite all this, during the reign of Emperor Wuzong of the Tang Dynasty 841 to 846 AD, Lü Dongbin twice traveled to the capital to take the imperial exams but failed both times. This left him feeling deeply confused and disillusioned. Chapter 2. The 10 Tests of Lü Dongbin by Master Zhongli. The first test. Lü Dongbin returned home to find his entire family suddenly deceased. Having already seen through the illusory nature of the world, he did not mourn but prepared to bury them. At that moment, his family members miraculously revived. The second test. Lü Dongbin sold some goods at the market. After agreeing on the price, the bear took the goods but then reneged, offering only half the agreed amount. Lü Dongbin, unperturbed, let the bear take the goods for free and calmly walked away. The third test. On the first day of the Lunar New Year, a beggar came to his door asking for money. Lü Dongbin gave him some, but the beggar, not satisfied, kept demanding more. When Lü Dongbin didn't give quickly enough, the beggar cursed him. Instead of getting angry, Lü Dongbin continued to bow and apologize until the beggar finally left with a smile. The fourth test. While herding sheep in the mountains, a large tiger suddenly appeared and chased the flock. Lü Dongbin, feeling pity, stood in front of the sheep, ready to sacrifice himself to save them. However, the tiger spared him and the sheep and walked away. The fifth test. While Lü Dongbin was reading in a straw hut in the mountains, a young woman knocked on his door, claiming she had lost her way and asked to stay the night. Lü Dongbin let her in, but when she tried to seduce him in the middle of the night, he remained completely unmoved by her charms. The sixth test. After a long walk, Lü Dongbin returned home to find it had been looted, with all his valuables stolen. Despite being left with nothing, he calmly picked up his hoe and went out to gather herbs to sustain himself. While digging, he unearthed several gold nuggets but quickly reburied them without taking a single one. The seventh test. Lü Dongbin bought some copper utensils at the market, but upon returning home, he discovered they were actually made of gold. He immediately returned to the shop and gave the gold utensils back. The eighth test. A deranged Taoist was selling medicine at the market, claiming that whoever took it would die immediately but be reborn in the next life as an immortal. No one dared to buy the medicine, but Lü Dongbin, without hesitation, bought and consumed it, only to find himself unharmed. The ninth test. One spring day, Lü Dongbin was rowing a small boat when a sudden storm caused the river to swell and the waves to rage. Despite the danger, Lü Dongbin remained seated calmly in the bow, completely unafraid of the storm. After a while, the storm passed, leaving him unharmed. The 10th test. One day, Lü Dongbin was sitting alone at home when he suddenly saw many strange and terrifying demons approaching him. Some wanted to capture him, while others sought to kill him, but Lü Dongbin remained fearless. Eventually, he saw dozens of yakshas escorting a bloody prisoner who shouted, "I am the person you killed in your past life. You must pay with your life." Lü Dongbin calmly replied, "To kill is to pay. There is no need to delay." He prepared to end his life when suddenly, the demons vanished, and Master Zhongli appeared. He applauded Lü Dongbin and said, "The human heart is hard to purify, and true immortality is difficult to achieve. I have sought a worthy disciple more eagerly than others seek me. You have passed all 10 tests, and your attainment of the Tao is now certain. However, your merits and good deeds are not yet complete. Once you accumulate enough virtue, you will achieve enlightenment. Stay with me for now, and I will teach you the true essence of the Tao." From then on, Lü Dongbin followed Master Zhongli, focusing on cultivation and learning, and eventually became an immortal.